Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two pickup trucks making love. American made.
Listen up, Autothoughts and Decepticlowns. You're listening to Prime Cuts, a non-linear exploration of the Transformers on television. I'm one of your hosts, Nero.
And I'm your other host, Audrey.
Now, I would like to start out by apologizing for two things. One, I'm sorry about my voice. I have a slight sinus infection, so I'm going to be sounding a little dulcet today.
You sound fab.
Second thing, and I can't remember if I've ever talked about this on the podcast or not, or if I just joked about it. I have said repeatedly that Rad is the one who falls in love with an Atlantean Princess hologram. I'm sorry, Rad. I was, of course, it was Carlos. Of course it was fucking Carlos who falls in love with an Atlantean Princess hologram.
Well, in the sub, it's both of them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very funny, because in the dub, it is definitely not the case. It is definitely almost all Carlos.
I mean, Carlos is definitely the one who is more intense about it, I would say, but they have like an entire conversation about it, and Alexa keeps making comments about, she has like, oh, not you two comments to both of them,
we will get
throughout
there.
the episode. Yeah.
This is we're finally here in the double digits for Armada, with the two episodes here, 10 and 11. The first one being, in the dub, Underground.
It's Underground Maze in the sub.
Alright, so they just chopped one word off to keep their mostly single word title thing going. Alright.
Yeah, gotta stay on brand.
Yeah, so this episode marks not only the joining of a new member of the to the Autobot team, the final member of the first wave of the toy line. So that's good. On the other hand, everyone is stuck in car mode for basically the entire episode. We get another one of those.
There's a lot of weird things that go on in this episode in terms of scale, I would say.
Yeah, it's
as a result of everyone being in vehicle mode the entire time.
It's challenging. So yeah, we start off here, and you know, you know how it is in Minecraft. You gotta start expanding your base out, doing some underground digging, which is exactly what Red Alert is doing, apparently. They're clearing out more of this, because, you know, the Autobot base is technically sort of built around this hulk of a minicon arc. So they're just trying to clear out more of the actual spaceship for their use. But Hotshot hates it. Hotshot fucking hates this shit.
Yeah, he's like the guy who signed up to join the army and was disappointed that he didn't immediately get to shoot people. He's like,
I didn't sign up for all of this base nonsense. Like, well, what did you sign up for then? I mean, Mr. Hot, I don't take no prisoners shot. I can guess what you signed up for, but
manual labor just isn't my forte.
No, and so he's bitching about it, and then Red Alert's just like, can you stop for like 2 minutes and just help me out here?
And Optimus is like, everyone stop what you're doing, forget it, over the PA, we got a mini-con, fuck it.
Yeah, lucky for Hotshot, it's mini-con time, everybody suits up. But this time is a little different. In the past, all of the other mini-cons have shown up in pretty remote areas, the Arctic, the Grand Canyon, the middle of a forest. This time it's in fucking New York City, baby.
Is it explicitly New York City?
No, it just felt like it was supposed to be New York.
They're like, we found it in the city. Which city? The city.
Yeah, you know, just like Big Canyon. It's just the city.
Exactly.
We know which city it is.
You get one of them.
Greatest city in the fucking world, baby. So
love the redacted.
Oh god, what if the thing stalking him through the tunnels wasn't a friendly crane, but it was instead Mr. Met? Terrifying.
Listen, this is a real threat for me, Nero.
Oh, I'm
You're
sorry.
You're safe in Texas, but I'm in fucking Queens. I live within spitting distance of Citi Field.
I'm out of Mr. Met's sphere of influence.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're driving through, and immediately they're like, "Well, fuck. How are we supposed to find the minicon in a big ass city?"
There's a couple things here. One is that like all the kids are trying to are talking about this as well and trying to figure it out, and there's like they're joking about like wow, like Carlos has a line. They're all in Optimus, and Carlos has a line. It's like, wow, can you imagine if anyone knew who, like, the Autobots really were? It's like, they're robots in disguise. It's the name of the show. And he's making, like, all these comments about how they're, like, able to get through the city, basically, like, in disguise. And Alexa goes, well, you know, Leo pointing, they are super robot life forms.
Yeah, there's a similar line in the dub. It's basically the same, just without the obviously the super robot life form part. But it is very funny because Carlos is like, man, if they knew that we were in a giant robot from space and not just a normal truck, people would flip. And I would think, you know, if I saw 3 12-year-olds driving a truck, I would also probably freak out. Does Optimus have tinted windows?
I don't know, man. I've been to Universal Studios. If I saw Optimus truck, I'd probably be like, oh shit, another Bayverse movie at this point.
Nah, I'm filming another one of these in here, god damn it.
Yeah. So yeah, they have no idea where to get it, but then Alexa pulls out her GPS, and I was gonna make a joke here being like, Alexa / like, find this for me, but then I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a joke now about how I'm pretty sure Bezos watched this show, and that's why he named it Alexa, because what can't this GPS do?
Alexis's magical GPS directs them. The minicon is coming from deep underground, and so the Autobots go and find the entrance to the city's subway system, just the nondescript city with a very famous subway system.
It's the city. What do you want them? They're in England. Fuck it. They're in England.
Yeah, they're in London.
Yeah.
Oh, and cool blimey, is that 3 middle schoolers driving a semi-truck? Or, excuse me, driving a lorry? So, they're in the subway, but unfortunately, Optimus is too thick.
Well, okay, so Alexa not only is able to identify that the Micron is buried underground, but she's also able to find an entrance, a tunnel to the subway. With her magical GPS. Flip, I tell you, the Motorola Razr was built different.
Surely Sure Shock must have done something to this GPS. There's no way that this is something she just had. There was some minigun enhancement going on here.
Yeah, she's called RC. I'm still not over that.
It's so funny.
But, so they get to this tunnel, and Alexa's like, alright, here's, like, the entrance tunnel, and they're like, alright, we're gonna go through it. And they go through the entrance tunnel, and then they're just in a subway system.
A sports car, an all-terrain rescue vehicle, and an 18-wheeler drive into a subway tunnel, and I don't know where the joke ends.
They say, ow.
Yeah, because Optimus is too fucking thick to fit in these tunnels.
But only in one direction. This makes me insane. So they go in, and they're like, realize that they're on, like, active subway track. Now, they're supposed to be, it's like in construction. So fair enough. Fair enough that this is like an access tunnel into it. But there's not supposed to be any subways active. But sure enough, there is a subway coming towards them, and they realize that they must be doing, like, a test of the system. And, like, immediately they're like, oh shit, like, we gotta get out of here. And Ratchet and Hot Rod are small enough to sort of, like, dive into this, like, these side alcoves, but Optimus is not. So he has to back up. And suddenly, the tunnel that he was perfectly fine getting through before is too skinny for his thick ass.
Yeah, it's all rear-mounted thickness, I guess. The trailer does kind of get wider as it goes, but I don't know how that would prevent him from moving if he could already move forwards. Look,
yeah,
The point is that he can't move backwards, so instead, what he decides to do...
It's one of those, like, spike traps within the rental car things.
Yeah,
where you can, like, drive over them into it or out of it, but you can't drive backwards or it'll pop the tires.
Yep. And so what he decides to do is drive directly towards the train. Just scaring the shit out of the conductor of this subway.
He's played gay chicken. You know he has.
Yeah, and so, but he like, jumps the track at the last minute once he's out of the actual tunnel, leaving the subway conductor to wonder aloud, what's a truck doing down here in the subway? Was that for real?
That is not what happens. What happens is that he has, like, there's a split in the track, and he just is able to, like, get into, like, the split on the other side as sort of as the subway rounds the corner, and the subway conductor's like, well, this isn't, the reason I'm pointing this out is this is concerning, because the subway conductor says, as Nero just pointed out, the truck that was coming towards me just disappeared. Which indicates that this conductor doesn't understand track switches and probably should not be conducting More News at 10.
Yeah, I feel like even this guy is just an accident waiting to happen if he doesn't know about track switches. And also, I would be way more freaked out about a truck appearing on the fucking subway tracks.
It's fine.
It's fine. They're fine. But unfortunately, the Autobots can't really, move anywhere in the subway tunnel, so instead they tell the kids to go find the minicons.
I mean, the three Autobots do try to find stuff on their own. There's
I forgot. There's there's a kid.
There's a couple pretty funny vignettes that go on here. Hot Rod ends up going through an underground mall very briefly, and is like, "Oh shit, gotta get out of here!"
Yeah,
really quick. Ratchet finds a path along the side of the train that he goes along, and there's like a little kid who looks out the window who's like, "Mommy, there's a car like following us," and she's not looking at all. She goes, "Oh, that's nice, dear." Yeah,
in the dub, that child is clearly voiced by a 40-year-old Canadian. It's very funny.
That's great. Optimus ends up in the Tiamat fight from Darkstalkers.
Yeah, like, they're just, this is where they come to the conclusion, it's like, well, we can't really do shit. Luckily,
sorry, Darksiders, not Darkstalkers.
I was about to say, yeah, Darkstalk, spooky games with dark in the name, and the second word starts with S.
Yeah, I didn't say Dark Souls, though, but yeah, Darksiders, that's what I meant, which is all about, like, using a moving train things around. He, like, gets into, like, the middle of this big...
That's right, he finds, like, the turntable thing.
Yeah, like a core part of the tunnel with a moving track that goes in like 5 different directions, which is the reference I was making from the Tiamat fight. It's whatever, it's fine.
So the kids go to with the Shoot Action team to find the minicon, and they while they do that, we cut over to the Decepticons, because of course they're under here, and they're having an equally bad time as the Autobots, maybe worse.
Yeah, so I had a comment at first. So the first two we see are Sandstorm and Starscream, who are both like miserable underground for obvious reasons. My first reaction was like, why the fuck did they bring the flyers?
Why did they?
This? Yeah, why the fuck did they bring the flyers to this? But then Starscream... This is so good. Before I can finish that thought, Starscream's like, yeah, we're having a bad time, but I bet there's someone who's having it worse. And he has like this smug little smirk as he thinks about it, and you cut over to Ironhide and Megatron, who are just wedged into the walls of the tunnel.
Just
like
stuck.
completely unable to move. Like Starscream and Sandstorm can at least maneuver. They're not having a good time with it, but they can at least maneuver. Megatron and Ironhide are fucked.
Yeah, they're just completely stuck. Megatron is just like, why is everything on this planet so fucking small? I hate it. So they also decide, they send their minicons out to search. They dispatch Leader 1 and Blackout, I believe. Oh, and Bone Crusher to all...
And Starscreams.
That's right, Swindle. I don't think we ever see Swindle after this scene, though. He just kind of disappears. He's off.
Yeah.
He went to the mall.
It's fine. Yeah, I mean, what else is Swindle gonna do?
So, this is when the kids reappear. They're exploring deeper into the subway system and finding a bunch of abandoned old stations.
Do you get Alexa's, Green New Deal shit
we do.
here as well? Okay.
Yeah, she just starts ranting about how when she's president, she's going to make sure we are going to make sure we historically preserve all of these great stuff. We're going to make sure to upkeep our current infrastructure and make everything environmentally friendly.
Yeah, she has a considerably more comprehensive plan to address climate change than Biden does.
Vote for Alexis.
Vote for Alexa. I will say in general that this show is much more Captain Planet than I remembered it being.
Yes, it is. And not just that forest episode. It keeps coming up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But yeah, so the other two are just like, yeah, okay, all right, President Alexis, let's keep going.
Because they come across an abandoned subway station, and Alexa's like, this was only abandoned because of poor infrastructure planning. If I'm president, I will make sure that, first of all of these sites are protected. Second of all, we won't waste, ecological resources and natural space building these things if we're not going to use them. And they're like, okay, cool. Anyway, there's a mini-con up there.
Yeah. So they find the mini-con. It's wedged in the ceiling. So they gotta go.
Or, specifically, Bumble finds it.
Yes. Yeah. The street action team combines into Perceptor, but he's still too short. Slightly too short. Even 3 mini-cons standing on each other's shoulders can't reach this one. So they go and grab a ladder.
If only they had their trench coat.
So they grab a ladder, and Carlos climbs up there with the help of the street action team. He manages to grab it, but the ladder falls down, and shenanigans ensue, and he just tumbles into Alexis's arms. Alexis is very strong, by the way.
I love her.
Upper body strength.
That's why I'm voting for Alexa.
Our president will have sick gains.
Nothing but respect for my president.
Hell yeah. While all this is going on, the Rad sees a spooky eye in the crack in the wall, but it disappears. I wonder what that could be about. Everything that happens in this episode is so funny once we learn what's going on with that eyeball too. It's hilarious. He was just being really weird for no reason.
Everyone in this show is fucking weird.
So
fucking weirdos.
So they get the mini-con free, and just as they're about to head back, a fucking crane smashes through the wall and starts to chase after them. What could be going on here, you may ask? We don't really learn. We don't know.
They assume that it is a Decepticon attack.
As would I! If a fucking crane smashed
two things happen at once. Is that, the crane happens, and also all of the Decepticon Microns show up.
Yes, that's right.
And they're like, give us the panel! Give us the panel! And the crane is sort of attacking fairly indiscriminately.
Yep.
So, they all, run, they all, dive under, there's a folded over subway car that is blocking their path, so they all do the Akira bike slide underneath it.
Yes, they do. It's pretty cool. And I will say, they are smart for not fucking with those mini-cons, because 2 out of 3 of them have guns for arms.
Right.
And one of them has guns for legs.
And they find, a hole in the wall of one of the subways that, leads into a cave?
A fucking train graveyard. They pass through a train graveyard full of rotting subway trains? What the hell is this?
I mean, listen, sometimes elephant graveyards just don't give you the mood you really need, you know? You have to go a step further.
And they're still being stalked by this mysterious crane.
Right, and also the Decepticon Microns.
Yep.
So they dive, they find this hole in the wall, and Rad's like, all right, street action team, real quick, help me move this boulder in front of this wall.
Yep. So the good news is they have escaped their pursuers. The bad news is they are now trapped in a cave. With no way
this
out.
is not neither the first nor the last time this will happen to these kids.
Nope. So the Minicons radio back to Megatron, who is like, you know what? I've had enough of this shit, and just starts destroying New York's sewer system.
True, and at the same time, Rad's like, oh, did not think this went through, actually, and sends Cyberhawk up to report back to the Autobots, being like, hey, please get us out of here.
Yep. So everyone calls for their parents' help, but unfortunately the evil parents get there first because Megatron fucking busts through the wall.
Megatron busting through!
Everybody keeps busting through, and Megatron's like, you know what? Give me that fucking minicomp, stick your shit. Tank barrel pointed directly at the children.
What is, like, really interesting about... I mean, I guess after the last episode, they sort of have, like, more of an acknowledgement of it, but, like, I feel like since the last episode, since, like, the hostage negotiations or whatever, which is an insane thing to talk about in a piece of Transformers media, like, the Decepticons have been much more cognizant of and, like, directly relational to the kids.
That's very true. Like,
which is interesting. Like, they recognize it's like, all right, you are on the Autobots side, and you've actually proven yourself to be useful. And they're not just ignoring them as like part of the organic matter of Earth anymore. They're like, you are something we are consciously aware of, and we are going to target you as much as we target anyone else here.
Yeah, because in the early episodes, they mostly just ignored them. Even in the second episode, literally, Starscream's like thermal tracking didn't even register them as targets. In the Arctic episode, like, they mostly just ignored them, to their detriment mostly, because they were able to start getting the Minicon. But now, after all of this, they're like, no, these little shits are actually quite useful. And we need to keep an eye on them. So it looks like all is lost because, you know, there's a tank barrel pointed at these three middle schoolers. Thankfully, the Crane is here to do stunts.
He does help. He starts by helping Sandstorm win the gold medal in gymnastics.
That's true. That's right, I forgot. Yeah, Cyclonus is here, and apparently this cave is big enough for him to fly in. What the fuck is this cave? Why is it here? Why is it so big?
Oh, you know, that's where all the New York alligators live.
So see, that's where Chud lives. That's his house.
So, Sandstorm is, like, crowding in on them, and before he can get anything done, a hook shoots out from the darkness, wraps around his leg, and yanks it out from underneath him, pulling him into a split. And he gets the gold!
You did it. Yeah, this crane, like, the crane grapple swings in, and he finally transforms and reveals himself to be our new friend Smokescreen. And this is the point where we have to ask, why was he being weird?
Hey.
Why didn't he just introduce himself to the kids?
Hey, you want to know what his Japanese name is?
I know what his Japanese name is. I hate it.
Hey, it's Grap.
Grap. Terrible name. What the fuck is that?
I'm actually okay with it. I wish it was Grapple.
Yeah. Because that's like a word.
Yeah, because that's like a word. But, like, I understand what it... So I think there's, like, two things that are going on here. So first of all, like, his personality, and I talk about it... I like, made a note of it a little later on. But, like, his personality is very similar to Cup.
Yeah, he's like the old man.
Yeah, so I think that they were trying to get, like, a name that was similar to Cup. And he does have a grappling hook.
That's true.
So,
isn't Grap, what's his name? I believe that's a Japanese name of one of the G1 characters, but I can't remember his name right now.
It's probably Cup.
It's not Cup. I think it's the Orange Crane, the Autobot Crane. How am I forgetting his name? It's because he's not very memorable.
Yeah.
I think it might just be Grapple.
I think, yeah.
But, so he's here. He is fighting the Decepticons. The rest of the Autobots show up at some point. But at a certain point, Cyclonus manages to grab the Minicon and summons it, reveals it to be Drillbit.
That is not who it is.
Oh, what's his name in the sub?
Yeah, 1 second. I just had it.
Oh yeah, and one other thing, Starscream unsheaths the wing sword, and finally, it glows like it's supposed to. Every other time he's gotten it out before this, it doesn't glow, but now it does glow.
Yeah. So Drillbit's Japanese name is Crush.
Holy shit, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what Cyclonus uses him to do. He just opens fire on Smokescreen and the rest of the kids.
Fuck, buddy, you sure do.
And Smokescreen shields the kids with his body and is buried under tons of rubble. And Megatron's like, well, I didn't really want Cyclonus to get it, but I guess it's fine. Let's leave. And I should say that Cyclonus, I believe, finally says power link for the first time. He actually says it.
Oh, does he?
The proper terminology is finally used. He says power link.
The word in Japanese, by the way, has always been evolution. It's not power link, it's just evolution.
That's funny because that pops up next episode in the dub.
Interesting. So they're buried under rubble, and Megatron's like, well, go dig it up. And Sandstorm's like, okay, got it. But before they're able to pop away, guess what? Honk honk!
Yep, Optimus is here again. He loves honking the horn. And Megatron's like, yeah, fuck this. We got the minicon. Let's leave.
Optimus is like, where are the kids? And Megatron just sort of looks at the pile. He's like,
have fun.
I don't know. It's like your turn to dig for them.
Yeah.
We got what we needed, so bye.
Good luck. And I also should say that Cyclonus combines the drill bit with by putting him on the underside of his cockpit, which is interesting because that is a minicon port he has on the toy, and I think it looks pretty cool, like the drill sticking out of this helicopter here. But as they start to dig, Smokescreen sort of digs himself out, and everyone is thrilled to meet their new pal. And he introduces himself. He was apparently also on their dispatch team, but I guess he got lost. I don't really know why he was all the way over here when everyone else teleported into that desert. But he's here now.
Did they not recognize him?
No, they recognize him. Hotshot's like, oh fuck, it's Smokescreen. Hell yeah. Yeah,
everyone is like, fuck yeah, Grap. So in the sub, he's like, yeah, I popped through the space bridge with the minicons at the last second.
Wait, the minicon arc?
Yeah, he's like, I popped in through the space bridge at the last minute.
Has he been here for 1,000,000 years?
Seems like it.
Oh God. Okay, maybe maybe I missed that, but no wonder he was being weird. He's been alone for a very long time.
Yeah, that does things to a motherfucker.
Frankly, it's amazing that he's so normal. I guess he probably just slept for a long period, put himself into stasis or whatever.
Yeah, whatever the bullshit.
But we finally have our friend here. Smokescreen is, I believe, one of the last actual toys from the first wave of Armada that wasn't in the show yet. He was always a pain in the ass to stand up because of his big fucking crane. But otherwise, I like him. Solid dude. But that leads us into the next episode, which is called, in the dub, Ruin.
In the sub, it is Memories of a Metropolis.
Ooh, that's very evocative. I like it.
Yeah, I was pretty into it as well. I was like, surprisingly interesting.
Carlos is running around, yelling at everyone to hurry up and figure stuff out. And I believe it's Hotshot's like, what the it must be that girl on the monitor, right? And Red Alert just very dismissively says he knows it's just a hologram, right? What an idiot.
Oh, I mean, that goes on throughout the episode in the sub, actually.
That's very funny. Red Alert is the one who's just like, it's just a fucking hologram. I don't know. I don't really get his deal.
Carlos, throughout this episode, is like, Hatsune Miku's real and she's my girlfriend.
He is. He forgets what a hologram is at several stages.
Yeah. My favorite part here is that, so Carlos, as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, Carlos is the main person in love with this girl, this angel in the centerfold. That has just, they basically, the Autobots have just gotten this mysterious message, and it's from a girl, and it's from, they're like, this is coming from somewhere in the middle of the ocean, and they're like, okay.
Seems sus. Better check it out.
Seems sus, but let's check it out. And Carlos is like really interested in it, but Rad is also very, very much in the sub at least has a crush on her. Like, to be sure. Like, Rad absolutely, and there's, my favorite part is like, this opening scene is like the, I guess like cold open, before the title. The title sequence, and literally the last thing we get before the title sequence is Carlos being like, Rad, I don't understand why you don't care as much, and leaving, and Hot Rod just looking at Rad and being like, so you don't think she's cute or whatever, and he just has like the weakest, saddest, most little meow meow, that's me. Which translates into like, not really, or whatever, and he just like blushes bright red, and then it like cold cuts to the fucking title screen.
Yeah,
it's not the funniest shit. It's the worst transition I've seen in this show so far.
It's not quite as clear in the dub whether or not he also has a crush on this girl, but at the end it kind of plays it like he did. I'd never really picked up on it that much, but there are several lines of dialogue where it treats it as such. So I guess they like kind of adapted that bit, kind of didn't. It's mostly Carlos though. So
he's definitely the driving force of this in both versions, I would say.
So they're good. So the reason they are delaying is because Red Alert is fitting everyone with underwater movement stuff. They're strapping some fucking hydrojets onto Optimus.
Yeah, the hydrojets are one thing. There's no way that their alt modes are watertight.
It's fine. They're alien robots. They sealed. They caulked up.
Exactly. They put the like spray cement.
Yeah,
shit
there's enough air in here for like 20 minutes.
At least 20 minutes. Yeah.
And this is when there's a very funny line where Carlos asks, "Hey, do you think it's safe down here?" And then I believe Alexis answers, "Don't worry about it, Carlos. The other of us wouldn't take us down here if it wasn't." Doubt.jpg.
Okay, I have to have like a very small diversion for a personal story at that, actually.
All right.
So I'm so sorry for the direction this is going in, but I was 10 years, if you want to cut this at the end of it, by all means, I will not be insulted.
I can't wait to hear this story.
Okay, so I was 10 years old when 9/11 happened.
Continue.
My sister was 14, and there's this great story of us being around a dinner table, and like, you know, I was sort of like too young to really understand the scope of everything, but my sister was not. And I remember my parents asked us, you know, has the attack, because we traveled a lot. We were a big traveling family. And so, you know, my mother specifically asked, you know, has this, and this was like 2 months after it happened or whatever, has it made you like more afraid to fly? And I was like, not really. It's like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm 10. So not really. But my sister's like, yeah, I mean, a little bit. I'm not gonna pretend, like, it's not been a major decision, but like a major impact. But yeah, it has made me a little more nervous. So my mom, in her infinite wisdom, goes, "Don't worry, honey. Planes crash all the time."
Oh my god. Wrong thing to say.
Yeah, which was like, and then she like realized afterwards that like, she's like, that's not what I meant to say. Like immediately she backtracked. She's like, I didn't mean it to come out that way, but the damage was done. My sister like has anxiety about flying to this day, which is bad because she does it about every 2 weeks for her job.
You know what they say, it's the least safe way to travel.
Anyway, feel free to cut all of that if you wanted. But...
Oh, I'm leaving it in. Extremely good punchline. So, yeah, they're at the bottom of the ocean. And it's completely safe, especially when the Decepticons appear and start shelling them from above, because what happens is... Wait. Let's slow back.
Let's back up a bit here.
They find Atlantis.
Right, and literally, right before that, like, Carlos is like, there will never be an underwater city, spits out cereal.
Yeah. Oh, there's a thing there where when they reach the bottom of the continental shelf, Hotshot immediately guns it, and Optimus is like, whoa, hang on. And he barely escapes, just plummeting into the abyss here, which is how they find Atlantis.
Mariana's Trench, here I come.
Yeah, which is how they find Atlantis, because everyone drives up to the edge of this cliff and goes, oh, fuck, that's Atlantis. Which, can I say, not only... What did you call?
Did it call it by name in the dub?
I mean, I think they might have said it once, but it's very clearly Atlantis.
Yeah, okay. Yes, it is. It's just never named.
I think maybe someone jokes about Atlantis or something, but I'm not sure if if anyone ever actually says that it's Atlantis, but like it's clearly Atlantis. And can I just say,
it's clearly Atlantis.
Not the last time Atlantis will come up in this continuity. So
yeah.
Although the next time it comes out, it'll be very different. And there's all sorts of fuckery going on with Galaxy Force and Transformer Cybertron that we can't get into right now. But the point is that they found Atlantis, and they're driving through Atlantis, and then Megatron starts shelling them.
Hey, please someone explain underwater laser fire to me.
Wizard did it.
Okay. Thank you.
So... yeah, it's very safe down here as Optimus is being bombarded with laser fire from the Decepticons here, and he can't transform because if he does, it'll get very messy.
The kids all drown immediately.
Yeah,
and so my point from before about them definitely not being airtight, I did sort of eat my own words here, because after getting shelled by Megatron, Optimus's windows do crack and water does start leaking in, and the kids do almost drown.
They literally almost drown. Also, they say that Optimus can't fire back in vehicle mode. That is patently false. He has guns on his cab.
Yeah, we've seen him shoot Sandstorm full of laser fire in the face while running him over.
So... yeah, they are, so Optimus just guns it as he kind of dispatches everyone else to fend off the Decepticons, hoping to try and find some place to drop the kids off underwater. Luckily for him, he doesn't drive around with a bunch of water-bloated corpses in his cab, because he actually does find an air pocket within the central palace here.
Well, there's a couple things that happen here. First of all, Optimus is like, all right, we need to get to the surface because y'all are gonna drown. And Carlos is like, no, we'll be fine. And Alexa and Rat are like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? we are literally taking on water right now. What the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, listen, the girl sent us that video, which means that she lived in a place that had air, which means that there has to be air in the city. So go fucking find us air really quickly in the city. Yep. Grap shows up to, Grap comes to Optimus's aid and is like, don't worry, Commander, I got this. And then he punches the doors?
Yeah, he's big and strong. That's mostly what he brings to the table.
He doesn't punch them open. He just punches them open a little bit. It's the weirdest sequence of animation I think I've seen so far in this show, where he just, punches right at the seam of the doors, and it looks like they're sliding doors at first, and that he's, pulling them apart after he punches them a little bit, but then they just open up regularly like doors. They're not sliding doors at all.
Very funny. So they get into this plaza, they find this air pocket.
Yeah.
Optimus is like, alright, go find the minicon.
Well, as they get in there, literally they are completely underwater by this time. Yes. And Optimus guns it up and opens his doors and let it out. They did not have air when this happened. They were maybe 10 seconds away from dying.
Also, the street action team is riding in the trailer, which I get it. There's not enough space in the cab, but come on, you couldn't give them chairs or something. So they all get dumped out, and Optimus is like, all right, You know the drill. We'll fight the Decepticons, and you guys find out what's going on with this minicon in here. So they head into this plaza, which is seemingly entirely abandoned, but then they blink, and it is suddenly populated by a bunch of random people in ancient garb, ancient sort of Mediterranean garb, one might say.
It should be noted as well that going along with the Captain Planet theme, it is a ecological paradise.
Yes.
They are surrounded by plant life, and Alexa has a line being like, "Oh, well, all the plants are providing the oxygen here for us to breathe." It's like, all right, Captain Planet, we get it.
We get it. So yeah, there's holograms everywhere, including the girl that Carlos was so obsessed with finding, which he's a little bit bummed about, finding out that she's a hologram too. They're all being projected from this thing, this jewel on the ceiling here, which is showing everyone off, and no one else seems to have the sort of consciousness that this girl does.
So Carlos sees her and immediately runs after her, not realizing that she's a hologram.
Yeah.
And Rad and Alexa stay behind, and they're like, "Oh, these are holograms."
Yeah, that's right. He puts his hand through her shoulder later, and that's how he finds out that she's a hologram.
Right, exactly.
Meanwhile,
despite the fact that she's fully translucent.
Yeah,
by
come
that
on,
point.
Carlos. She is a ghost. So then she tells them it's lore time, baby. Who's ready for some fucking lore? So she is here as a sort of ward to anyone who would mess with this particular minicon's power. An image pops up. This is sonar.
I do just want to point out that she looks shockingly good for this show.
Yes. I mean, this is a pretty good looking episode in general, I think.
But she looks like her character model is, like, consistent and, like, I think given, like, a considerably higher level of care than literally any other character that we've seen so far.
I think this is around the time where they were beginning to pull this whole production together a little bit.
I guess. I think they just wanted a really good-looking Manic Pixie Dream Ghost.
I mean, yeah, you gotta make the ancient Atlantean Princess look good, but also I think by the end of the show, the quality does become pretty consistent. It's just that the first half is very, very wobbly. But this girl starts telling them about the history of this city. So, you know, in the ancient past, they recovered these three minicons. The three minicons that the entire sort of plot of the show has been revolving around lately. And they combined, they never say the name of the weapon, but I will say it now. It is the Star Saber, a sword of fire with no equal.
Oh, hey, they do say it in the sub.
Interesting, because I don't think...
I mean, sort of. The three, I think it's different than the weapon, but the three microns that make up the Star Saber are known collectively as the Orichalcos.
Oh, fuck.
Because I can't get a fucking way from the Orichalcos.
Watch out for that shit. They're gonna summon a big snake with that.
Yeah.
So in the... I don't think they ever say Orichalcos or anything, but
no,
they definitely
it's definitely
don't.
Orichalcos. They say it a lot in the sub.
They definitely don't name the Star Saber either, but they do say sword of fire with no equal. And they used that power to, like, go on a series of conquests and become a flourishing empire, but eventually... the people...
Oh, wait, sorry. That's really interesting, because in the sub, Orichalcos is not the specific name for it. It is the name of, like, a category. And she's like, we used our Orichalcos to fight another Orichalcos.
Right. Okay, so that's why... Alright, so in this flashback, we see the Star Saber in the foreground, surrounded by fire. And in the background, unremarked upon, is another thing clearly made of minicons, which
the other Orichalcos.
Yes, which they goes entirely unremarked upon in the dub, which is presumably the thing that other people found and used to fight back against them, because what happened is that Atlantis was destroyed by the people fighting back against them. They lost control of the Star Saber, and their entire city fell into the ocean. And I will say, the other thing Won't be named for a very long time. That is the Skyboom Shield. Sword and shield. You know how it is.
My
Dueling
favorite
opposites.
Pokemon games.
And so while she's giving the kids all of this lore and telling them, listen, please, for the love of God, do not use this minicon under any circumstances.
Yeah.
It holds unimaginable destructive power within it. Leave it here. Do not allow it to be like brought into the field. I think it's right. Is like I understand, but like the Autobots need everything they can get, and if this will help them fight the Decepticons.
Don't worry about it. We're good. We're
the good guys.
So you can trust us to use like world leveling powers because we're good.
We're
12 and we're good.
There is going to be no point in the show where the Star Saber changes hands and it's a problem. Don't worry about it.
Literally, don't worry about it. Don't worry about anyone's allegiance in the show, actually. Don't worry
Sideways
about it.
isn't real. He can't hurt you.
Sideways and Starscream aren't real. They cannot hurt you.
So meanwhile, outside, the battle is heating up, and Megatron says, hey, I have a cool new thing to show off. My toy can do this. So this is where he screams in the dub, Evolution Transformation, instead of Power Link. And what happens is
It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good as fuck. His artillery platform that is on his back comes to the forefront. Leader 1 combines with it.
He pops his torso up.
Yes, his torso extends. The artillery platform comes to the front, and he just fucking melts the seafloor with a hail of laser fire. And everyone's just like, oh, fuck.
He's like, I just had an idea. Actually, fuck this.
Yes, it's just like a fucking huge ray of lasers just sort of scourging across the battlefield. And everyone just has to hide, because what the fuck do you do against this? So, yeah, this is where they're like, listen, it's fine. We're the good guys. We'll never let it fall into the wrong hands.
And Megatron says, Megatron busting through!
Yeah, Megatron starts smashing through the palace, which causes it to collapse.
So, just before Megatron sort of bursts into the room where the kids are, like, talking to the hologram, is when she says, I will not essentially, like, I'm not going to let anyone take this Micron, not you or anyone else, and, like, Rad's trying to, like, negotiate with her a hologram, like, again, acknowledging that it's a hologram, but trying to explain it, and then, like, Megatron comes in, and she just looks at all of this hologram just looks at all of this and goes, I am drowning, there is no sign of land,
yep,
you are coming down with me, hand in unlovable hand.
Yeah, so she just fucking detonates this city, to try and just kill everyone.
She's like, if you attempt this, her actual words are, this temple and this Micron will sink deeper than the sea.
Whoa. All right. Well.
And Megatron busts in, and she's like, "Okay, bye."
Yep.
And
time to go.
Sets off a chain reaction that starts sinking this temple further this entire city further down into an unfathomable trench.
Yeah, so Megatron grabs the minicon, unfortunately, and begins to pull out. But Carlos still wants to save this girl, and Rad, to help his homie save some face here, because Carlos still seems to somewhat be struggling with the fact of what a hologram is. He's like, no, Alexis. He wants to, like, save her image so she isn't lost to history. That's what it is. Listen, he's not stupid, I promise.
But at the same time, Rad's like, Alexa, he's not stupid. And also, Carlos, stop being stupid.
Yeah.
Like, and he has, like, a really nice line here in the Japanese, which is, they're not done, like, you have to come with us. Like, so Ratchet shows up, he's like, alright, y'all gotta get it, like, right now. Like, right now.
We gotta leave.
Gotta go. And, like, Rad and Alexa are piling in, but Carlos isn't. And Rad's like, Carlos, their memory will live on. Like, this is not the end of them. This is what they wanted. Their memory will live on. They will continue living in this, like, digital world they've created for themselves, even after we're gone. And eventually, like, is able to pull him away. But it's like, Jesus. Come on, dude.
Oh, and in the dub, Carlos has a really weird parting line, which is definitely not the vibe of this whole episode. What he says as they're driving away, watching Atlantis crumble even deeper into the sea, is, "See you around, kid."
Oh, that's very different.
What?
Yeah, that's what he says in the sub is, I'm sorry we couldn't save the Micron, and I'm sorry we couldn't save you.
Yeah, I don't really know what see around, kid ain't the vibe, man. I don't know. Because you
Be
won't.
good, sweet boy.
Yeah, because here's the thing, Carlos. You won't. So, as the Autobots kind of grapple with the fact that there is now a ancient Minicon super weapon in play, and the Decepticons have one of the pieces. They have two of them, but the Decepticons have one of them, and that's not good.
But Alexis like it's chill because we got two.
Yeah, it's fine. We have more of them, so that means we're winning. It's just totally true. So
we got the W here if you think about it.
When you really think about it, sure, it would have been nice to have all three, because then you have the Star Saber, but they don't have the Star Saber, so that's kind of a W a little bit.
Just wait until I'm dating one of them.
Oh, Lord. So...
The one who gets the Star Saber!
That's true. We cut out to so Carlos is out moping in the desert, and Rad walks out there, and like there's this bit where Carlos, like in the dub at least, Carlos is talking about like, you know what? I bet she like did that hologram and then she like grew up to be a great queen and lived happily ever after. And Rad's like, yeah, sure, man, yeah,
for $100.
For sure, bud.
Okay. So in the sub, it's them basically. So Carlos is like, "So you didn't think she was cute at all?" And Rad's like, "I didn't say that." And Carlos is like, "I knew it, dude." And they both like commiserate over thinking she was cute.
Yeah. Then the way this ends is very strange. I feel like something got mangled here, or just a weird translation happened, because what Rad says is. He's like some shit about like, I'm sure that eventually when the time is right, her hologram will come back to the surface. Huh?
No, that's not what happens.
The fuck are you
even
talking
a little bit
about?
Not even once.
The fuck are you talking about? And then they have this thing where Rad says, he says, but anyway, forget about her. We're buds for life, man.
Pros before hoes.
Like, literally. What a weird end to this episode that they have. I don't know. Other than that, I liked it. I like the lore.
Yeah, that's not what happened in the sub.
I figured. They
just talked about both thinking she was cute and being sad that they couldn't save her.
Yeah, I figured it had a little bit more of a logical conclusion to their character arcs in this episode than see you around, kid, but forget about her. We're buds for life.
See you around, space cowboy.
Like, what the... I still cannot get over see you around, kid. What the fuck kind
of... It really does feel be good, sweet boy to me.
It does. So that's the end of that. And nothing bad will happen from this super sword. It's fine. Ignore that shield. Don't worry about it. So that's episode 12, Ruin. We are finally getting started on the main plot here. Guess what? We gotta get these Minicon weapons, or I guess these Orichalcos, as the Atlanteans call them. Oh, boy. But yeah, fun fact, I actually had the Star Saber Minicons as a kid. And, they know that it looks very silly to have a sword made out of planes, so in the show they just sort of glow with laser light and then don't really look like swords made out of planes for the most part. But if you had the figures, it did just look like a sword made out of planes.
Great.
Beautiful. You got questions?
We do have questions. We don't have any questions on Twitter, but we do have a few on Discord. The first one is from Steven Carshmallow. Which is, okay, seriously, which one of these kids is definitely going to die first with all these shenanigans, / how many of these kids are going to die before this is all over? Carlos is going to be the first to die because he's too stupid to discern reality, and all of them will die.
Yeah. I think Alexis has the best chance because she's really smart.
Alexis survives because she has to become president.
That's true. The other two, and I will say, all of them canonically do survive somehow. They are all in Energon. There's no way any of them would, though. Oh, no. I forget. 2 of them are on an Energon. Billy and Fred don't show up in Energon.
They died.
They definitely died at some point.
They died.
I don't know when, but I think they died between series. They never show up again.
We have a few questions from Cass Arachnia. The first is, I think, probably more for you, Nero, since you've watched animated and I haven't really. If you could drop Professor Princess into any Transformers continuity, where do you think she'd cause the most chaos?
Oh boy. I mean, she already causes so much chaos in animated. I think probably Beast Wars.
Oh my god.
just drop her onto prehistoric Earth and see what happens. I don't know, man.
Butterfly effect shit.
Oh Lord. This is what happened to the fucking GoBots universe. This is how it happened. Canonically, the GoBots universe was fucking destroyed in the Transformers continuity. Very funny.
Her second question is, so you've met Sky Mall and now Grand Mall. Where do you think the next mall will be?
Space.
Moon Mall. Yeah.
Yeah, the Megatron is gonna, like, go outside with his hot piping cup of morning energon. He's gonna look out and he's gonna say, "The fuck is that?" And there's a mall on the moon now. That wasn't there before. Whose mall is that?
And then the third and final question from Cass is, are there any Transformers that you think would be able to Roadrunner style interact with holograms? If not, then what would be Gwenpool's alt mode if she was a Cybertronian?
I don't know enough about Gwenpool to answer that last one.
Yeah, neither do I. But
however, the most Looney Tunes one, Cyclonus. I feel like Cyclonus could fly through a tunnel and be pursued by someone, and then they would crash into the flat rock face that is the tunnel.
I mean, I feel that way about World. Maybe like the Cy-World Gate trifecta.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I think, yeah. Why is it that helicopters are always the craziest in Transformers? What is that?
Also, the Dinobots and also the Scavengers.
Yes, all of them have very high Looney Tunes quotient on all 3 of them.
Yeah, there is no way in my mind that Spinister couldn't helicopter his way through a rock wall.
It's only Spinister. It's absolutely only
right, yeah,
Spinister.
Yeah, no, Spinister flies his way through a rock wall, and Croc tries to get after him and falls runs flat face into it.
He's just too stupid to be fooled by pain. He just works for him. That's just how it works. I love those boys. I love that like, we're gonna make the guy who is literally the dumbest man alive, but he's really good at brain surgery.
I mean, yeah. What are you gonna do about it? He just gets how it works, dude.
He just understands.
Yeah.
He just vibes.
Sometimes you just get it. From Horn My Starscream.
Pretty good.
How would a crossover between Armada and the Magic School Bus play out? Basically the way you're seeing it. I mean, yeah, these episodes have been so... Did you know about the environment? Let us learn you about it.
We're learning about the environment and other subjects being put in extreme peril very regularly by authority figures. There aren't, like, bad puns, at least in the dub, like... You know, they're basically the same show when you really think about it.
Yeah.
I think that Miss Frizzle is the Magic School Bus's hollow matter avatar. She was never real.
That's all of the IDW comics again.
Yep. That was just some deep cover stuff. The Magic School Bus never broke infiltration protocol.
She's literally just Ratchet's IDW hollow form.
God. Yeah.
And then our last questions are from Casey Cosmos, parentheses, a Transformer. What dumb shit would you do if you had hologram tech? Well, I can tell you I'd never show up for a meeting again at work.
No, yeah, absolutely. Just like, especially if it was like hard light, damn, I would just send that motherfucker out to work every day. And just have, like, I never talked to anyone at work anyway, just like have a bunch of pre-programmed lines to choose from and just chill at home all day. That's the life, really.
Yeah. And then the final question, also from Casey, is what stores do you find in the Underground Mall?
I've actually been to an underground mall.
In the ground mall, so I'm going to assume that's underground.
Yeah.
I've only been to one underground, significant underground mall in my life, and that was in Toronto. And it's underground because everything is too cold in Toronto.
I've been to an underground mall in Vegas for the same reason, except it's because everything is too hot.
Ah, and the only thing I bought there was actually a pretty formal cocktail dress. So, the formal cocktail dress store.
I believe in that mall I went to, there is a candy store that's just called Lick. I don't like that. There's also a karaoke lounge where they keep it at or below freezing.
Oh, yeah, the ice lounges, we know that.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're walking by there, you'll just hear people very drunkenly and badly singing karaoke. That's also where there's a Guinness store there. It's Vegas, so it's all alcohol related. There's a Mexican restaurant down there that claims to be the creator of the margarita. I don't believe that.
That seems false.
That definitely seems untrue, but whatever. Who cares about the truth? It's Vegas, baby. Say whatever you want. Anyway, that's Prime Cuts. Moral of the story, never buy overpriced booze at Las Vegas unless you want to, in which case you can, I guess.
Yeah. Well, as Nero just said, folks, we've been Prime Cuts. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Prime Cuts Pod. You can join our Discord. We'd love for you to do so. We're still trying to grow it. We have a really nice community. We have a really nice community so far, but we'd love to have more members of it.
Just like the Autobots and Decepticons are constantly looking to recruit more Minicons, we are constantly looking to recruit more Discord users to boost our power.
That's right. This is our Pokemon. You can find the link to our Discord in the description of this episode, or if you go to Prime Cuts Pod on Twitter, as I just mentioned, you can find it in the permanent link in our website URL section. And you can also find us on the Noisepace Network, which we are extremely happy to be a part of. You can find that at noisepace.xyz. There's a ton of other amazing shows that are on Noisepace, including Nona Roy's Night Marinera, which has been extremely fun over the last month with Halloween.
Big fan of the Danny Phantom episode. Very funny.
Yeah, there is Slappers Only. There's the Sonic Shuffle. There's a bunch of really good shit. And we hope you listen to it. I'm Audrey, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, and you can find me at Optimum on Prime on Tumblr and Twitter. You can listen to the other podcast I do, which is Pot of Greed, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast, which is also on the Noisepace Network. We just finished Season 2 of GX, and we're going into Season 3, which is where I hear things really pop off, which is impossible for me to imagine, because things are already so nutty in GX Season 2.
Constant state of popping off.
Just sort of a constant state of popping off at this point. I don't have any other projects in the making at the moment, but you can follow at the Reticulation. That's TheReticulation on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook for updates about a website I'm trying to launch with a very good friend of mine to uplift and spotlight LGBT voices in the realm of pop culture criticism, and that's me.
As for me, I'm Nero. You can find me on Twitter at DragonSmoocher, and you can find many other projects that I do. I guess right now it's Rovember, baby. I'm taking a bunch of screenshots of my Final Fantasy XIV characters. Speaking of that, you can find the soon-to-be starting project me and my friend Jane are doing, Radio Free Heidelin, a full analysis of the full text of Final Fantasy XIV from A Realm Reborn to Endwalker, coming early next year. We're going to be posting a few preload episodes late this year, though, and that's going to be, you can find that over at Heidelin Radio on Twitter. You can also find me on Disney Minus, a cursed trudge through the House of Mouse. Just got done with Mars Needs Moms. I Will Never Love or Smile Again.
I mean, look at it this way, Nero. At least you never have to worry about watching Mars Needs Moms ever again.
That's very true. I never have to see it again. And that is beautiful. And
it's behind you now.
It's behind me now.
You have nowhere to go but up.
and that's over at Disney-Pod. And if you want to listen to my past project, of course, that's still up there at Podcast of Power with my friend Jane, a full analysis of the She-Ra 2018 show. Good ass show, and that's all up there. That's me.
And with that note, I'm going to put No Children by the Mountain Goats on repeat, transform and roll out.
I am going to stretch my spine out in an attempt to put my artillery platform forward to blast my foes. Forget I don't have any of those things. Die, and then maybe roll out.
See you next time.
Peach.
Peach!